I never thought the people who gave me life would destroy my reputation just to line their own pockets. The courtroom was packed, the air heavy with tension, when my father stood up and pointed his finger directly at my chest. He declared to everyone in that room that I was a hopeless addict who could not be trusted with a single cent. Sitting beside him, my brother smiled with cold satisfaction while our aunt nodded along like she had been waiting for this moment her whole life. They spent 3 long years painting me as unstable and dangerous to every relative, neighbor, and family friend who would listen. I sat motionless at the defense table, keeping my hands flat on the polished wood, refusing to give them the dramatic outburst they were praying to see. The judge slowly took off his reading glasses and leaned forward, staring at my father with a quiet intensity that made the entire room go completely silent. He asked my father to clarify his statement, giving him one last chance to reconsider the weight of his claims before proceeding further. Instead of backing down, my father straightened his tie and repeated the lie with absolute confidence, believing his authority as a parent would instantly win over the court. My heart was pounding so hard against my ribs that I felt lightheaded, but I kept my gaze fixed straight ahead. I knew that reacting with anger would only validate the twisted narrative they had spent years carefully constructing behind my back. My father thought he was delivering the final blow to my credibility, completely unaware that his arrogance was about to walk him straight into a trap. To understand how a family turns on their own blood, you have to look back to the summer my grandfather passed away and left behind a massive estate. Grandpa was a hard-working man who built a successful logistics company from the ground up, and he always valued honesty above everything else. Shortly before he died, he realized my father and brother were recklessly spending company funds to fuel their own lavish lifestyles while the business sank into heavy debt. Recognizing their greed, Grandpa restructured his final will to place the entire remaining fortune into a protected trust account under my name. He trusted me to manage the assets responsibly and ensure the family remained secure without allowing my father to gamble away the inheritance. That single decision turned me from a loved daughter into an ultimate enemy overnight. The moment the will was read aloud in the attorney office, the mask my family wore completely slipped off. My father demanded that I hand over control of the trust immediately, insisting that a young woman had no business managing millions of dollars. When I firmly refused to break my grandfather's explicitly stated wishes, the psychological warfare began. My brother started spreading rumors across our small town, claiming I had developed a severe substance problem that made me completely paranoid. They organized a fake intervention with distant relatives present, purely to create a paper trail of people who believed I was losing my mind. They even convinced my aunt to write sworn statements about my supposedly erratic behavior, building a fraudulent case to strip away my legal authority over the estate. For months, I lived like a prisoner in my own home, constantly watching my back while my family systematically isolated me from everyone I cared about. Friends stopped calling me back because my brother had convinced them I was in the middle of a downward spiral and needed professional medical help. Every time I tried to defend myself, my father would calmly tell people that my denial was just a standard symptom of my ongoing addiction. It was a terrifying form of manipulation because the harder I fought against their lies, the more unhinged I appeared to outsiders. I realized that arguing with them in public was a losing battle that would only drain my energy and damage my defense. My only option was to stay quiet, gather hard evidence, and wait for our day in court. They eventually filed a formal petition to declare me mentally incompetent, so my father could assume total guardianship over me and the entire trust. Their legal team felt so confident that they invited half our social circle to attend the hearing, expecting a quick victory that would publicly humiliate me. As my father finished his dramatic speech in front of the judge, his lawyer looked almost bored, assuming the case was practically closed. They really believed that repeating a lie for 3 years was enough to make it the truth in a court of law. What they did not know was that my attorney and I had spent the last 6 months preparing a defense that would dismantle their entire fabrication in a matter of minutes. When it was finally my attorney's turn to speak, he stood up calmly and opened a thick leather binder on his podium. Instead of making an emotional speech, he simply requested permission to submit 3 crucial pieces of evidence into the official court record. The first item was a comprehensive toxicology panel from an independent medical examiner, covering 3 full years of unannounced testing that showed entirely clean results. The second item was a private investigator report detailing my father and brother's massive personal gambling debts, showing exactly why they needed access to my trust. The final blow came when my lawyer produced audio recordings of my father and aunt explicitly discussing how they planned to fake my addiction to seize control of the money. The atmosphere in the courtroom shifted instantly as the judge began reviewing the documents and playing the audio files through the bench speakers. My father's face turned completely pale as his own recorded voice filled the room, clearly laying out the scheme to destroy my reputation for financial gain. My brother looked around frantically, suddenly realizing that the public spectacle they created was turning into their own public downfall. The judge slammed his gavel down so hard that several people in the gallery jumped in their seats. He sternly warned my family that making false statements under oath was a serious felony that carried immediate criminal consequences. The smug expressions they walked in with had completely vanished, replaced by sheer panic and humiliation. The judge did not just throw out their petition. He immediately referred my father, brother, and aunt to the district attorney office for perjury and conspiracy. He also issued a strict protective order forbidding any of them from coming near me or attempting to contact me regarding the estate ever again. Walking out of that courtroom, I felt a heavy weight lift off my shoulders for the first time in 3 long years. They thought they could use my silence against me, but staying calm was the very thing that allowed the truth to finally expose them. Blood might make you family, but respect, honesty, and love are the only things that truly make people worthy of staying in your life.